Hello guys, so in the last tutorial we were able to do um sorry about this. We're able to do this website, and this is the completed version where we did from the beginning to the end, and we stopped in part one where we just did this section. So let's go over to the next point. From the last tutorial I changed just a bit of some things. So in the last tutorial there was what was displayed was only get the price, book a pickup, breathe and relax, and these icons were all cogs like we have right here. So to change those you might just need to go to your HTML. You change the previous one that was here to FA regular, FA check. That's for the get the price, FA solid, FA back shopping, and the FA solid and FA bed. You're just going to put them there and they would get to work. So let's move over to the next side, that says what is it called, the completed version, why diamond laundry. So let's quickly start that up. So first thing we need to do is just to create a div, and so I'm going to come here, we're going to create a div. I'm going to call it y, and then we're going to press enter. So the next thing we have to do in a div, just like we did in the previous ones, anytime we create a div we always have a container. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to create a container. I'm going to call this dot container. I'm going to press enter. Then all our content is going to be inside the container. So I'm going to copy out this h1 and paragraph tag. I'm going to copy it out. I'm going to bring them down here and paste it here because we are also making use of the what's it called, the h1 here. So I'm going to copy out the content, why diamond laundry, copy. I'm going to come here, paste it out here, and for the paragraph that's there, the only laundry company that speeds up your last minute deliveries, going to also copy it here and paste it so that we are going to be fast. We don't always have to write everything from beginning. Okay, so I'm going to save this here and let's check out our current one. As you can see, it's added the container spacing there, and we also have the wild diamond laundry and the laundry this thing. So your h1 might not be this blue, you might be having the ash h1. What you simply do, I just remembered I added it recently, so you could just head over to the top and add this h1 tag and set the color of all h1s to hashtag 02 whatever. So just copy this and add it in your own code. And then another thing you might need to do to be able to prevent the cards from also changing, because as you can see here, these headings here are also h1s. We could change that one to another thing like a h2 or something. You simply come here and say dot card and h1, meaning every h1 that's in the card div or whatever class that is bearing card should have the color white. So that's what we're doing here. So let's quickly jump and proceed. So the next thing we have to do here is to create, let's go to the completed versions, this guys here where there's the bookie pickup and this other stuff in here. So for that we are going to also want to add the spacing right here. So this spacing from top to bottom, this is going to about the margin top and bottom of 50 px. We're going to add the spacing, so as you can see now, and we don't have any spacing. So I created a class for that. It's called the main spacing. Do I have it here? I don't think I have it here. So we're going to just create it here. So we're going to say dot main hyphen spacing. I'm going to come here and we're going to say padding. I'm going to say padding 50 px, and I'm going to say 0. So anytime you specify two values in the padding, it simply, the first value is going to refer to the margin top and bottom. Let me comment it right here. This one is going to refer to margin top and bottom. Where's bottom? And then this other one is going to be margin left and right. So let's just, yeah, so whenever I specify two values, that's what it is. So I'm simply telling here that okay, our margin top and padding top and bottom should just be fixed 50 px. It's better than specifying margin top 50, margin bottom 50. So we're just going to come here and also add it to the y. We're going to add main hyphen spacing. Don't forget to save your files. Come here, save your file also. So once I do this, we come to it, and as you can see, we have the spacing here that gives our content a better spacing there. And also I'm going to also make sure that any h1 that is inside this or p tag that is inside the y is going to be centered. So what we can simply do is to come here and say dot y, and then we say h1 and say comma dot y, then we say p. So this is simply targeting the h1 and the p tags that are inside the y div that we have over here. So I'm simply going to say text align, and I'll tell it to center it. So this just saves us some extra time that we'll be needing. As you can see, it's quickly centers it. Then as you can see, the next thing we have to also do is the these 4 sections over here. Let's quickly do that. So I'm going to come to the index.html. So we don't have to suffer ourselves doing this. We are going to create, first of all, we are going to make use of the row spacing, just so did I just put it here? Sorry, I meant that row spacing is going to give us a div that we're going to use to wrap our row. So I'm going to define what that row spacing actually does. Let's say row spacing. So what we'll simply do here, what we'll simply do here is to give our stuff a width of 60%, and then we're going to give the margin, let's say 0. That margin top and bottom should be 0, and then margin left and right. Sorry, this was supposed to be top slash bottom, not margin top slash bottom. So this is going to top slash bottom and left slash right. So we save this, and then we come here, we put our dot row, and then we paste in 2 cards each. So I'm just going to come to the top and copy 2 cards. I'm going to copy 2 of the card divs, and we come down here. Since we already created the card div up, I'm just going to do that, and I'm also going to duplicate the row. So I'm going to duplicate the row, so we don't always have to type everything from scratch. So we go to the completed version, and as you can see, we've been able to replicate what was here inside here. The only difference might be in the sizing. This guy might need more padding to bring it out better, or we could actually just reduce the spacing by reducing the width of this. So I'm going to change this to 55, and okay, sorry, that's actually going to make it smaller. I'm going to change 65, sorry, and as you can see, it's better now. So that's how you can do it. You could go ahead to change the content to whatever you like. Let's say you want to talk about your pricing or whatever, you could talk about it here. And then the next side is the form, the contact us today. We also have this form that is a bit transparent with some white text, and the footer. So let's quickly head ahead to do that. Did I just say head ahead? Go ahead. Okay, so I'm just going to make sure I get this. Now, if you do not know how I'm getting my browser to keep on updating whenever I make a change, you should check out my video on extensions, VS Code extensions for beginners. There are some extensions I use, and also how every time I save my code, it automatically formats. It's also an extension. I discussed about it in that video, so just check. I recently released the video, and let's proceed. So the next thing we're going to just do here is we are going to create the form. So how do we create the form? The first thing that we're meant to do is to actually create a div called contact. We're just going to call the div and give it a class called contact. As you can see, that's how to easily create a div with a class in VS Code. And inside here, we're just going to copy a h1 with the contact us today. So I'm just going to say h1, and I'll just say contact us today, and I'm going to save it. Now, when we save it and come to our version that we're doing, you're going to just see contact us today, and this is supposed to have a background color. So I'm going to come here. First of all, we're going to go to the styling, come here and say dot contact, right? The contact, yeah, we're correct. And then the first thing I'm going to say is we're going to set the color of any text inside to white. Then we're going to set the background color to the following color. It's going to be the hash 036596, I believe so. So once we check this out, it's going to give us this. Now we are going to need to give this a padding, as you can see, and the container, so that the contents doesn't go anyhow. So I'm just going to come here and write dot container, press enter, and I'm going to put the h1 in the container also, so as I can save it and it formats my text. So as you can see here, we have the contact us today. Another thing I'm also going to add is to add the main spacing. So it gives our stuff a padding top and padding bottom automatically. Now that's the use of having classes that are reusable, so you don't always have to keep on specifying each for each and every div. So I'm also going to come here, and as you can see on the completed version, we have our texts are all white, so we're going to change that now. I'm going to say dot contacts h1, let's say color is equal to white. Save that, and that should be updated in this version. So yes, it's updated. The next thing we want to also do is to give the text align of center, text align center. And yes, so that is completed. The next step we're going to do is the form. We'll have to create this form and actually make it look like this. So follow me as I go ahead with this. So yeah, we have to first of all create a form. We are going to give it the form tag, and inside here we're going to have the inputs, and for the inputs, normally I like giving the inputs a closing tag due to the fact that I've been doing React. So we are accepting the full name and the email address. So I'm going to come here and say input type. For the full name, we're just going to give it text, and we're going to just say placeholder. We're going to give it full. Just kidding. So I'm going to duplicate this. Now I'm going to change this to email, and I'm going to change this to email also. So let's just say johndoe@mail.com. So when we save it and check our stuff that we're doing now, as you can see, it looks so ugly. It's so ugly. Just kidding. We are going to style that up now to see what it's actually going to give us. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make it aligned from top to bottom, not left to right, and we're going to also give it allow it to come to the middle and see what that will happen. So first things first, I'm going to say dot contact, and I'm going to say form. Since the form tag we're targeting directly, first thing I'm going to say is going to give it a width of 40%, and I'm also going to give it a margin of 0 and auto. That's to center it. Remember, this is to center a div. This is another way to handle centering of a div. So when I come here, as you can see, the div is actually a bit to the center, but you're not going to see it properly. It's going to come out as we're styling it better. So next thing, remember I said we're going to allow it to stay from top to bottom, not from left to right. And so I'm going to say display flex. I just love flexbox. You could try to read more on flexbox, or I'm going to do a tutorial on it. Just any questions you have, drop it down below. So yeah, we're then going to say flex direction to column. So column is to make it start from top to bottom, and as you can see, it is stacked from top to bottom right now. Then this thing is too close, the form is too close to the contact us today, so I'm just going to give a margin top. Let's see, margin top, and I'm going to give it 40 pixels. So as you can see here, we have this done, and in the completed version, we have sort of like space around, and we also have the submit button, which I forgot to add, and we have the border, and border is a bit curved, so let's do that right away. I'm going to add border. I'm going to say 2 pixels solid and white. So this, if you want to add the border all in one statement, you've probably seen when they say border type, border width, and the rest. So the first statement refers to the border width. The second statement refers to the border type. And the last statement, the last value refers to the border color whenever you are specifying 3 values using border. So the next thing to do is to check and see what we have. Sorry, this is completed version, and here it's still looking so ugly. Let's change that up. The next thing we're supposed to do is add a padding. I'm going to also add a padding of 40 pixels. It's 40 too big. Let's see. 40 doesn't look big to me, so it's looking this. Then we're going to also add the curved section. So to add the curve, we simply give it a border radius of 15. Yep, I think 15. Give it a border radius of 15 pixels. Save it, and as you can see, we've been able to create it that it looks like this. And what's left? So I also forgot to add the submit. Where is it? Submit. So we could also add the inputs and say type submit. Then we could save it by default to give us everything we need. So the next step to this is actually style our input. So what we want to do is make it be like this, so it has a background of transparent, and then we also be able to style this button. So yeah, let's get on to it. So first thing we meant to do is to actually come down here and say dot contact form input. So what I'm supposed to just do is to come here. First, we're going to give it a background color. Since we're always having white, we're going to change the background color to transparent. What happens is that it's going to remove the color, and then you could see whatever is behind it at the moment. Let's start it a bit better. So next thing I'm going to give it is, as you can see in the completed version, we also have the border, we have our placeholder having a white text, the color of the text is also white, so we're going to be adding all those things one by one. We're going to give this a border. First of all, we're going to give it border. We're going to say, remember, like last time I said, 2px solid for the border type, and then the color is going to be white. And then once I save this, you could see here in the completed version we are having a border around, but they are too close to each other, so I'm going to just add a margin top and bottom. It's just meant to be 10px and 0. I don't want the left and right to have margins too, so I'm going to just say margin top. So as you can see, it's spaced out a bit. Yep, that's good. So you can see whenever we type in something, we're having black text, which makes it ugly. Did I try to save my HTML? Wrong choice. So we're going to change this now. We're going to set the color to white, and then we're also going to give whatever I type in a font size of 18 pixels. And then as you can see, whenever we are hovering around the text, we always have this black stuff. Whenever we focus on a particular input, we have this black stuff around. I don't want it, so I'm just going to say outline. It's called an outline, so I'm going to say outline 0. So I'm going to save that, and we check it now. There's nothing coming up whenever you hover around the text. So next thing we need to do is just give this padding. As you can see, the border is close to the content of the what's the name. So I'm just going to give it a padding. We're going to say padding 5 pixels for the top and bottom, but for the left and right, we're going to give it 10 pixels and save it. So let's see what we have. So yeah, it's coming out bright. Also, from the completed version, we can see it's having a curved nature. So that means we're supposed to add a border radius. Remember, anything curved needs a border radius. And let's also give this a border radius of 15 pixels. So we save it, and as you can see, we're getting close. Now, to be able to make our placeholder have a different color, it's a bit different. So what we have to simply do is to come here and say dot contact form inputs. Now we are going to use I've forgotten the specific name. I've forgotten what it's called. Don't judge me. sometimes they escape my mind, but if you can do it, yeah, that's the most important thing. There are specific kinds of selectors, forgotten their exact names. So I'm just going to say input form, and then we're going to put the two columns and pass in placeholder. So this is any styling for our placeholder, and I'm just going to say color. No, not this color. We can say it white, or let's make it a bit grayish by adding the color white smoke. So white smoke is a bit grayish, not the main color. And as you can see, boom, voila, we have this. So, but there's one more different thing. The submit button is it's not just color like the others. But as you can see, it's actually taking the color of the others because we actually styled it like the others. We are checking for input in general. Now let's target the submit button only. Now how we can do that is by saying dot contact. Sorry, you're always repeating this, but actually there are better ways to handle this. But for the sake of those who are just learning this, we're just going to use this. Then we're going to pass in this and say type is equal to submit. Now what we are doing now is that we are telling the browser that any input with an attribute that has the name type and is equal to submit, it's going to actually style that. So when we hover around this, you can see VS Code actually tells us what happened. Any element with the class contact and a form and with an input that has a type submit, exactly what I just said, that's what is going to style now. So we're going to put the styling for the button right away. First things first, I'm going to give it a background color of this. This is our color we used then. And once I save it, let's see whether it actually affects it. As you can see, it gave it a good what's it called, a good background. So we're just going to remove the effects of our general styling on this one first. Then we're going to give this a color of white. Then we're going to give border 0. Now that will remove the border color we had then, and this button is looking pretty nice. But in the completed version we have this. Might just continue with this first because it's looking more beautiful. Yeah, looking beautiful. Now I think this is pretty much okay for the form, but one thing you see is that whenever we hover around the button, there's nothing to show that this is actually clickable. So what we want to do is to make sure that the cursor changes whenever we hover around the button. So here I'm just going to set cursor to pointer. Save this, and yes, you can see whenever I hover around this we have the hand. So yeah, that's basically it for the contact form. Lastly is the footer. The footer is pretty much easiest. I hope it doesn't give us more problem. So what I'm simply going to do is, after this, I'm going to use the footer. The footer tag is a semantic tag, meaning that it has, the browser understands better what this tag does and whatever content is inside. So I'm just going to have something like a p tag inside, and I'm just going to copy it. Footer made by @18 programmer. That was the name I used to like then, but I'm getting old, so I don't know. So let's save it and check this out. So we're going to say class, and I'm just going to say main spacing so that it has the padding top and bottom. That's the importance of always having reusable components. So we come here and check completed our version. Now as you can see, it shows this, but it's not still looking that nice. So let's style it up a bit. So I'm going to come here, and since we are selecting a tag, we are going to say footer straight up. I'm going to say background color. I'm going to set it to this color. You could always get it here. VS Code automatically suggests it for me. Then I'm going to say whatever element is inside should have a color of white, as long as it's text or something. So as you can see here, it gave me the footer credits made by a team programmer. Yeah, so but next thing we're going to do is to actually center this and make it a bit thicker. As you can see, it's looking we're going to give it some weight, making it a bit bold. So I'm going to come here to my styling and say footer, and the p tag, we're going to say text align, set it to center, and we're going to give it something called a font weight. I'm going to make it a bit bold by giving it 700. So from 500 upward is stronger, 600 is semi bold, and 700 up is bold. So once we save it, as you can see, we have tutorial credits made by 18 programmer. Yeah, that was my former name. I don't like it anymore. Just kidding. Okay, so that's it, guys. So thank you very much, and apologies to those that had to wait a long time for this video to drop. My bad. I never meant it. I was just busy trying to learn some new stuffs, and yeah, I am way advanced at this level, but sometimes I try to make time to do tutorials for people who are still learning. I build more interactive websites using React and other things, and I might be making more advanced tutorials very anytime soon. I'm pretty bad at design, that's why most of my designs look like this. But what I normally have UI designers who make designs for me, and I could replicate whatever I see. So we've been able to replicate almost everything here, been able to clone everything that we've had here, and this is pretty nice. So if you have any questions, please drop it down below. If you've not watched the part 1 of this video, you could also check it out, and please watch other videos, and hopefully I'm going to be releasing more content. I'm so sorry I left you guys on this for a long time. Thank you very much for supporting me. Please don't forget to like this video, subscribe, please. I'm begging you out. It's all the statistics. Some of you don't subscribe, but you watch my content a lot. In fact, more than 80% of people watch my content but don't subscribe. So please do subscribe. I'll be dropping in more videos as time goes on. Thank you very much. See you in the next time. Bye bye.